I think the main things that, people come to LiveO2 confused about is number one, well, why is this so much better than a hyperbaric? That's one dimension. And the second thing is why in the world would you want to use this adaptive contrast function, which is, it just makes no sense to me that using a low oxygen mixture would increase the oxygen delivery. So if you can help, our audience understand that in your words and put that in context with respect to what you see with your patient, it would be really helpful for them.
Beautiful. Let me go through the LiveO2 sequence first, because this is really critical to understanding. The whole idea of the LiveO2 is we'll compare and contrast simultaneously. Hyperbaric chamber, passive. You're just laying in the chamber, somebody's controlling the oxygen concentration. Your heart rate doesn't go up, your driving pulse pressure doesn't go up. Yes, you are getting extra oxygen, and yes, it can work to deliver more saturated, oxygen-saturated plasma to the cells. No doubt it can do that. Takes an hour and a half, kind of minimum if you're doing it right. And if you really want to do it effectively, you need a hard-sided chamber. Okay. Why? Because the soft-sided chambers can't get up much above 1.4, maybe 1.5 atmospheres, which basically is equivalent to 7 to 15. If you consider 33 feet of seawater as 1 atmosphere, the pressure change in 33 feet of water is 1 atmosphere. We're at 1 atmosphere at just standing on the face of the earth. So increasing it by 40%, you're only getting 40 to 50%. You're getting somewhere between 8 and 16 feet of seawater. So it's better, but is it really an efficient use or an effective use of your time? Contrast that with LiveO2. So what are we doing here? Well, we have you on 80% oxygen with a mask. We're starting to exercise you. So we're increasing your heart rate. That increase in heart rate starts increasing the driving pressure in your vascular system so that we can get to those areas that are damaged. If you got a stricture and a pipe, one way is increase the pressure to get more fluid through. Okay, so that driving head pressure becomes important. But on top of that, when you add the altitude contrast, so we got you all nice and saturated, and you're sitting there 2-3 minutes, breathing basically 80% oxygen and saturating the cells with a little bit of exercise. Then we take you to altitude. Well, now all of a sudden the body's going, wait a minute, I'm not getting enough oxygen to my muscles in order to, provide the oxygen I need to keep this exercise going. So what am I going to do? I'm going to increase my nitric oxide, and I'm going to dilate my blood vessels, and I'm going to increase my heart rate. Well, what's that do? That creates turbulent flow. Hopefully this is an analogy everybody can understand. Do you know the difference? There's a huge difference in the oxygen levels in a mountain stream versus a farm pond. Would you agree to that? Mm-hmm. Why is that? Because you have the turbulent flow. The water is crashing over the rocks and the surfaces, and you're getting more exposure of the blood the water to the air. Well, that same thing is happening in your vascular system. This turbulent flow is increasing the availability of the exposure of the red blood cells in the plasma to the oxygen in the lungs. And so when we take you there and we take you to altitude and we've increased your pulse rate and we've increased your nitric oxide concentration, we've created turbulent flow, then we give you the oxygen back. It's like, oh my God, somebody just rained manna from heaven in the middle of the desert and I'm going to eat up. And they're just like loaded up. And you can get, upwards of 600% increased concentration of plasma oxygen over what you would do just breathing 100% oxygen through a mask. That's pretty damned amazing. And I can do it in 15 minutes.